What's up again there, guys? Brian here with 3 Topics Gamer here to give you another episode of my weekly Q&A to help people's questions or answer a series of questions that have been sent to me over the past week. Before I start, I just want to guys give you a little bit of an update. I still have just a little bit of a cough, and other than that, I actually am feeling okay. And surprisingly, I actually did test positive for COVID like maybe a week ago, but I feel fine like now. So I don't know. I think I'm just in the last couple of days of experiencing whatever. It might have been COVID. Might have been the flu. Don't know, but other than that, I'm doing just fine. For this episode, I got like 5 questions. All regulars, no new people, so just a regular episode. Nothing too extraordinary, but heck, that's okay. So, like always, if you do happen to enjoy this episode by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep track of me on my future episodes moving forward. Starting with the first question. Coming from the Batman of Neil Gotham, you want to know, are there any characters from DC and Marvel that you personally think are smarter and better tactics than Batman? There's a lot of people a lot smarter than Batman. What are you talking about? Man, just Marvel, just off the top of my head, Spiderman is smarter and more tactical than Batman. Reed Richards is a hell of a lot smarter. Iron Man, for God's sake, as much as I hate Tony Stark, he is league smarter than Bruce Wayne. And heck, even in DC, Superman could be smarter than Bruce Wayne if he wanted to. Wonder Woman is certainly a better tactician than Batman. I mean, she can kick his ass any day of the week, as much as I hate to admit that. Brainiac, Lex Luthor, they're significantly smarter than Batman. So, no, as cool as Batman is and as tactical as he can be, there's a lot of people that can outsmart and out-tactical him. So, there's no question there. Next question comes from Eric C. And you want to know, you've been hearing rumors that Sony wants Andrew for another Amazing Spider-Man 3. What are your thoughts on this? Well, if they want to do another Amazing Spider-Man, I'd say, knock yourself out. I mean, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a mess of a film, no question about that, and had a lot of problems, but I do not think Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was one of them. So, heck, after the success of the last Spider-Man movie, which I still haven't seen and probably won't see for a long time, if he was good in that, from what I've heard he was, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't want to continue doing that for Andrew Garfield, giving him another Spider-Man film. I've heard that even Tobey Maguire might come back in a future film as Spider-Man, and heck, if they want to do that, then that's cool with me too. Next question comes from C Visions, and he wants to know, do I ever buy games digital or do I stick with disc? I prefer to stick with physical, simply because I'm old school. I'm a 90s kid, so I prefer to hold games in my hand. I think the only time I would buy something digital is if I want to play it on something, but I can't play it physically. So, for example, something like Infamous, for example. On PlayStation 4, if you have PlayStation Now, you can technically kind of semi-stream that on your PlayStation 4, but you can't physically play the disc on PlayStation 3. So, things like that. And I think like a future example of this where I think it's stupid is for the upcoming Horizon Forbidden West. Now, I'm getting the collector's edition for that game. The problem is that it comes with a steelbook, but it has no physical disc. What I think is stupid. So what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up buying 2 copies of this game. I've already pre-ordered a physical copy, and the collection edition comes with a digital copy, which I'm going to give to someone else so they can play it. And I'm going to take my physical copy and just put it in that steelbook. So yeah, I would only get digital if there was no way that I could play the physical copy that I had on like a console that I no longer have. So other than that, then I would prefer to stick with physical. Next question comes from Shadow Decis Gaming, and you want to know, who is a better Jedi, Kyle Katarn or Mace Windu, and why? Okay, I don't really like this type of question, and the reason I don't like it is because I think these two are so, what do you mean by better? If you're talking about who I think would win in a fight, I really don't know. You're asking the wrong person. I don't know either of these characters well enough to wonder who would win in a fight. There's just too many factors. I'm the wrong person to ask these type of questions. I really am. If you're asking who I would prefer, I would go with Kyle Katarn simply because I think I wouldn't want to deal with Order 66, and I think Mace Windu is a little bit too radical with his beliefs in the Jedi Order. He is, for all intents and purposes, a bit of a fanatic. He's loyal to the Jedi, but I think he's a little too blinded, and that's kind of what ended up getting him killed in the end. Kyle Katarn is someone who's kind of walk the lines of both the light and the dark, and I just kind of prefer his viewpoint on how someone just used the Force more than someone like Mace Windu. So I would prefer Cal Katarr, but I can't necessarily say who's really an overall better Jedi. So, that's the best answer that I can give you. And the last question of the episode comes from Virgil, son of Sparta. He wants to know, do I think that Leon and Ada will ever get together or at least get some sort of closure? No. At this point, no. They're not a couple. As much as people like to simp them, they're not a couple. They might have screwed a couple times, but that's it. Just a couple booty calls, but that's it. They're not a couple. They don't. I don't see them. I don't see them as that kind of people. Leon I think he's got too many demons, and Ada's just not someone who's looking for personal relationships. In terms of closure, I don't really know what that means. Like, what do you mean closure? I mean, I really don't know what do you mean by closure. I really don't know. They're not getting together at this point. I don't think it should ever happen. I mean, if you want to ask for closure, how come Chris and Jill aren't a thing? You would say that, I mean, those two are much closer. I'd say Leon and Ada. And I don't see them being a couple ever. So, you can ask where's the closure for them. And we haven't even seen Jill in like over 10 years, which is crazy to think because last time we saw her was in Resident Evil 5. And, it's been like 11, 12 years since that game came out now. Like, maybe 13 years. And so, heck, where's the closure? What's going on with Jill? So, no, as for your question, no, it won't happen. I don't see it happening now. And ever. And that about does it for this episode of People's Questions. Remember, if you guys have any more questions, interesting questions you'd like me to answer, and next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. Make sure you get them into me roughly before next Wednesday or before noon, before I start filming the next episode. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will catch you all next time.